your person knows, deep down and without any room for denial, that they must eventually tell you the full truth about the lies they told you. That awareness weighs heavily on them now, even as they move through life feeling emotionally numb, disconnected, and hollow. There is a persistent sense of misery that follows them, because your absence has made everything painfully clear. Without you, they feel incomplete, unsettled, and unable to escape the realization that you are a grounding force in their life. You gave so much of yourself to them, your time, your energy, your patience, your care, and only now do they fully understand the depth of what they had. They hold an infinite amount of love, respect, and admiration for you, even if they failed to express it properly when it mattered most. In their heart, they do not see anyone else as comparable to you. No one else represents true love or wish fulfillment the way you do. You were never replaceable, and they know that now. Letting you go stands as one of the greatest mistakes they have ever made. At the time, they may have justified their actions or avoided accountability, but clarity has finally arrived. They recognize that misleading you, withholding the truth, and lying outright was not only wrong but deeply destructive. It was the worst thing they have ever done to someone they genuinely loved. That realization has come with consequences, and they feel as though justice has taken its course. The tables have turned in a way they never anticipated, and what they once put you through emotionally is now what they are experiencing themselves. The confusion, the regret, the loneliness, and the pain they caused you have found their way back to them, leaving no escape from self-reflection. They feel embarrassed when they think about the words they spoke and the actions they took toward you. Shame surfaces when they replay moments where they dismissed your feelings, distorted the truth, or created unnecessary conflict. There is a deep sense of remorse attached to the way they handled the connection, and it intensifies because there is no contact between you now. The silence feels heavy and final to them, amplifying their heartbreak. They miss your presence, your voice, your energy, and the comfort that once existed between you. Not being able to reach out or fix things has forced them to sit with their emotions instead of avoiding them, and that has been incredibly difficult. Your high vibration energy remains powerful and alluring to them, even from a distance. They can sense that you have shifted, that you are no longer entangled in the chaos that once surrounded the relationship. To them, it feels as though you are finally at peace without them, and that realization brings a mix of admiration and sorrow. They see you as someone who has risen above the pain, someone who has chosen calm, self-respect, and healing over drama. While this brings them pride in you, it also deepens their regret, because they know they were the source of much of the turmoil you endured. They are fully aware that you were once a happy, easygoing person, someone who approached life with openness and warmth. They recognize now that it was their actions that disrupted that natural joy. The drama, confusion, and conflict that entered your world were not reflections of who you were, but consequences of their unresolved issues and poor decisions. This understanding has forced them to confront parts of themselves they ignored for a long time. They see how their behavior affected not only the relationship but your emotional well-being, and that realization lingers with a painful clarity. In quiet moments, they reflect on how differently things could have unfolded if honesty had been present from the beginning. They understand now that love cannot survive without truth, trust, and accountability. The distance between you has become a mirror, showing them exactly what they lost and why they lost it. Although they carry hope that one day there may be an opportunity to speak honestly and take responsibility, they also know that they are not entitled to your forgiveness or your presence. For now, all they can do is sit with the consequences of their choices, holding the truth they once avoided and learning, perhaps too late, the value of what they had with you. No matter how hard I tried to block out this connection, to silence it, to convince myself that distance or time could weaken it, my feelings for you always found their way back. Each time they returned, they did not come quietly or lightly, they came back deeper, stronger, and more certain than before. I tried to tell myself that I was doing the right thing by holding back, by building walls, by pretending that walking away was an act of strength. But the truth is, running from what I feel only caused more pain than facing it ever could. Holding back hurt far more than being honest, and denial became heavier than vulnerability. You are constantly on my mind, woven into my thoughts in ways I can't undo or ignore. Even in moments of distraction, even when life demands my attention elsewhere, you remain present. That is the honest truth I have tried to soften or hide, but it has never changed. You represent the priority I have been searching for, not just in a relationship, but in connection, understanding, and emotional safety. I have crossed many paths in my life and encountered countless people, lessons, and experiences along the way, yet none of them reached me the way you did. Out of everyone I have known, it is only you who truly holds my heart and feels deeply connected to my soul. You came into my life at a time when I was struggling to stand on my own. When I felt lost, uncertain, and broken in ways I couldn't fully explain, you didn't turn away. You picked me up when I was falling apart internally, when I didn't even know how to ask for help. You walked beside me without judgment and showed me a path forward when I lacked direction, clarity, and purpose. In moments when life felt empty or overwhelming, you became a steady presence, something I could hold on to when everything else felt unstable. What meant the most to me was the way you loved me unconditionally. You gave without keeping score, supported me without demanding explanations, and stood by me when there was no one else I could rely on. During times when I felt alone and abandoned by the world, you remained, offering patience, care, and understanding. That kind of love is rare, and I don't take it lightly. I carry deep gratitude for every small gesture, every word of encouragement, every moment you showed up for me when I felt unseen and unheard. Those moments may have seemed simple to you, but to me, they were lifelines. There are times when I try to convince myself that I am detached from this connection, that I have somehow stepped away or moved on. I tell myself that I am stronger now, more independent, less affected. But when I am honest with myself, I know that isn't true. In reality, I am fully invested, completely and deeply all in. The difference lies only in perspective, in the stories I tell myself to feel safe. How we choose to look at things shapes what we believe, and sometimes I hide behind perspective to avoid confronting the depth of my emotions. Everything I have ever wished to find in a partner, understanding, compassion, strength, loyalty, and emotional depth, I see reflected in you. You align with the vision I carried quietly in my heart long before I knew how to put it into words. Being with you feels familiar and grounding, as though my heart recognizes something my mind is still learning to accept. That realization both comforts and terrifies me, because it means this connection matters more than I ever planned to let it. The only thing that has consistently held me back is my fear of vulnerability. Opening myself fully has never come easily to me. My past relationships, especially with those closest to me, left deep wounds. I was betrayed by people I trusted, abandoned when I needed them most, and left to carry the weight of that pain alone. Those experiences taught me to protect myself, to question intentions, and to hesitate before placing my trust in anyone again. As a result, I learned to build emotional walls so high that even I sometimes struggle to see past them. Because of that history, trusting someone feels risky, almost dangerous. Letting my guard down means risking disappointment, loss, and heartbreak all over again. Yet despite that fear, despite everything I've been through, my heart still leans toward you. That alone says more than I ever intended to admit. You challenged the defenses I'd built to survive, not by force, but but through patience and sincerity. And while fear still lingers, so does hope, the quiet belief that this connection is different, that maybe vulnerability doesn't always lead to loss, and that some bonds are worth the risk. Your partner is willing to do whatever it takes to show you just how serious they are about you and the connection you share. When you first came into one another's lives, they embodied the energy of the Knave of Wands, curious, passionate, and inspired, yet still inexperienced and unsure of how to fully channel their desires into lasting action. At that time, their intentions may have been genuine, but their approach lacked the structure, discipline, and long-term vision needed to sustain the depth of the bond that was forming between you. Since then, however, a profound transformation has taken place. They have grown into Emperor energy, stepping into a role defined by maturity, stability, confidence, and purpose. This is someone who now understands responsibility, commitment, and the importance of following through. They are no longer guided solely by impulse or excitement but by a clear plan and a strong sense of direction, and they are fully capable of turning their intentions into tangible reality. In this evolved state, your partner sees you as the person with whom they can build a life that is not only happy but deeply fulfilling on every level. They envision a future grounded in mutual respect, emotional security, and shared growth. You represent stability, partnership, and emotional truth to them, and they recognize that the connection you share goes far beyond surface-level attraction. Since the time you have been apart, they have undergone intense spiritual growth, receiving numerous spiritual downloads and realizations that have reshaped their understanding of themselves, their past choices, and the true nature of your bond. The separation was not meaningless. It served as a catalyst that forced them to confront their shadows, patterns, and unresolved karmic attachments. Through this process, they have gained clarity about what truly matters and who truly holds their heart. Now, with this heightened awareness, your partner feels a strong urge to show you, through actions rather than words, how deeply they honor and value the connection. They perceive what you share as something divinely guided, sacred, and even magical, a bond that transcends logic and time. This realization has brought both awe and humility, as they understand that connections like this are rare and not to be taken lightly. They feel the energetic shift signaling that the separation between you is coming to an end, largely because the truth about the karmic situations or attachments that once interfered is becoming impossible to ignore. Illusions are falling away, and clarity is taking their place. What once confused or distracted them no longer holds the same power. At the same time, your partner carries a sense of remorse and accountability. They feel that, in some way, they may have let you down, whether through inaction, emotional unavailability, fear, or choices that didn't align with their higher self. This awareness weighs on them, not as self-pity, but as motivation to do better and be better. They are no longer running from responsibility or avoiding difficult truths. Instead, they are ready to stand firmly in their power and take ownership of their role in the connection. This is the Emperor who understands that leadership in love means consistency, protection, and emotional presence, not control or ego. This version of your partner knows exactly what they want and is no longer afraid to pursue it with intention and integrity. They are prepared to dismantle old patterns, release karmic ties, and make space for a relationship rooted in truth and balance. Their growth has taught them patience, emotional regulation, and the value of long-term commitment. They are no longer chasing fleeting excitement but are focused on building something lasting and meaningful with you. In their heart, there is a deep certainty that you are not just a chapter in their story but a central figure in the life they are meant to create. Ultimately, this is your Emperor, someone who has learned through experience, loss, and spiritual awakening. They know how to find their way back to you, not through grand promises alone, but through steady action, emotional maturity, and unwavering dedication. They are ready to reclaim the connection with clarity and strength, honoring both the journey that brought them here and the divine purpose that continues to pull you together.